that's really applicable. We keep seeing cities like Rochester, New York, Daniel Prude, and Philadelphia with Walter Wallace, where police were called to handle individual experiencing mental health issues, and the situation escalated and often ended in death and despair. While this session is specifically about self care, let's just face it directly. What should city leaders do to help counsel and help address these kinds of issues as they escalate? And actually, the fact of police may not even have the expertise to deal with these. Any advice?
Well, they have to train police. One of the things we did in Philadelphia, we had a great partnership. I was the mental health commissioner and had a great partnership with the city's police commissioner. And, over the time that I was in my position, we trained about 40% of the police department in something called crisis intervention training, or CIT. It's done all around the country. But, we what we did was to not only train officers on how to recognize when someone might be having a mental health emergency and how to work through those. And actually, the way we train officers is on de-escalation. That's the way you manage through those kinds of situations, and giving them the tools to do that made a tremendous difference in their ability to respond to these. When I first took my position back in 2004 in the city, we were having fairly regularly people with mental health who were experiencing mental health crises being shot, sometimes killed by police. Almost every 3 or 4 months, something was coming up. And I would say the last 6, 7 years that I was in my position, we had no known shooting. What does that tell us? That tells us that this is not an intractable problem. This is something that we have the technology and the research and the knowledge to fix. What it takes is city leaders saying, we're going to make this a priority. We're going to make sure that we have the resources to train our officers how to deal with these issues. And you have to not only train the officers, but put into place a system. So, if you called 911, the people responding knew that if they thought that this was a psychiatric emergency, that they were going to deploy officers who were trained. And then there were also people from the mental health crisis community that would also respond to those. So that combination of training and creating a system can make a huge difference in saving lives and really helping officers through those really difficult situations.
So, Ace, if you had to give 2 points of advice as we go into the Thanksgiving holiday for municipal officials, what would it be? Just two things.
Well, I think it's really important to understand the importance of our mental health. It's just a part of us. And we have to normalize it. I think it's important for city leaders to talk about mental health. I think it's important for people to know some of the strategies. Like, we talk a lot about making sure that you are socially connected. We say that because there's a lot of research that shows that if you are socially connected, you're going to do better psychologically and health wise. We talk about reducing the amount of media. We talk about doing things to manage the stress levels that we are experiencing, like exercising and taking care of ourselves physically. All of those things go into us being psychologically healthy. And as we go into these holidays, we really have to prioritize our health and the health of our families. And so that's going to be difficult because that may mean that we're not being physically close, but we can still do things to overcome that and be socially connected.
So, on behalf of the National League of Cities, Ace, I'd like to thank you so much for spending this time with us today. And personally, I just like to say I appreciate you so much and want our delegates who's attending the conference to know that he's been my psychologist for over 41 years, and I still need.
And that's a tough job. I have to say that's a tough job. But you've been a great
All
friend
right.
and a great leader and a role model. So I appreciate that.
All right. Love you. Tell Claudine I said hi.
Okay, you take care.
Thank you. To close out today, we have one final speaker joining us, a late addition to our agenda, but an important one. To do our official introduction, I'd like to welcome back to our virtual stage NLC President Joe Buscaino. Take it away, Joe.
Thanks so much, Clarence. I was hoping to hear Dr. Evans, some of the experience y'all had in college, but maybe not. We might have to lose our audience. But thank you so much, Clarence and Dr. Evans. So such an important conversation for all of us to have. Okay, colleagues, we have one final speaker to hear from today. Now, as you all know, last year at City Summit, NLC committed to you that we would ensure that candidates in the 2020 presidential election understood our federal priorities and, more importantly, the importance of partnering with local leaders. We were proud to get commitments from nearly every major presidential candidate to our Leading Together agenda. And 3 weeks ago, as we all saw, we saw the largest voter turnout in our country's history. And our country selected their candidate to lead us for the next 4 years. So NLC immediately began to connect with the transition team to uplift our priorities for the first 100 days of the new administration, including COVID relief, infrastructure, workforce development, housing and homelessness, and reducing gun violence. This afternoon, we have the great honor of hearing directly from our next president. Please join me in welcoming the man who started his political career in 1970 on the Newcastle County Council, went on to be senator for the great state of Delaware and for 36 years, and finally, as we all know, served as the 47th Vice President of the United States. Help me welcome President-elect Joe Biden.
Hey, everybody. I hope that all of you and your families and loved ones are keeping safe during these hard days for our nation. We're facing the darkest days of this pandemic, and our economy is still in crisis and recovering much too slowly, in my view. We're experiencing a long overdue reckoning on racial justice, and we have to take serious actions to address the existential threat of climate change. American cities are on the front lines on all of these crises. You know, you are the people in this country look to first for your leadership, your guidance, towns, cities, larger cities. You know, I know how hard it's been. You know, when we did the Recovery Act back when we first came into office, I dealt with thousands of the folks in small cities and big cities. And you are the place where people go. Their quality of life depends more on what you're doing than anything else. And I know how hard it's been. COVID is straining your healthcare systems, burning out your healthcare providers. Essential workers are putting their lives and their health at risk to keep your communities running, but you're not getting the support you need to be able to keep paying your teachers, your police officers, your firefighters, your first responders, providing them PPE, keeping everyone safe. You know, and the Congress has passed the money. It's passed the money that was designed to do this. And it's not coming forward. I know it must be frustrating. Yet, in the face of these challenges, you've all stepped up. I want to thank you for being there for your communities. For the families who are grieving and lost loved ones, you're there. For the folks who are worried about whether they're going to be able to pay their rent or find a mortgage payment. And all the proud Americans who are seeking food support. I've seen it. You've seen those lines in your own cities. Thousands of people lining up for the first time in their lives. First time in their lives needing food for Thanksgiving, needing food day to day. I want you to know that my administration will have your back, I promise you. And it didn't matter whether your city supported me or didn't support me. I meant what I said. There are no red cities. There are no blue cities. There are only American cities, American states, period. I really mean that. These are American challenges. We have to meet them with one country, as one country. Not, as I said, as red and blue states, but the United States. And Vice President-elect Harris and I are committed to being real partners to you so we can coordinate a real nationwide response to these crises. So I want to thank you all for what you're doing, for your leadership, comfort, and support you'll continue to provide for Americans as we face this pandemic. I know that our best days still lie ahead. I really believe that. And as president, I'm going to work with all of you to deliver for the American people. And I really mean that. Like I said, you're right on the front lines. People probably literally are knocking on some of your doors. Your doors. You, city managers, city mayors, council persons. I want to thank you all. You really are doing a job. And you're not asking anybody when they ask for help, whether they're Democrat, Republican, or Independent. You're stepping up. I promise you I will do that. And you have a seat at my table in the White House when I am sworn in. I genuinely mean it. I genuinely mean it. I wish all of you and yours a safe and healthy Thanksgiving. May God bless you all, and may God protect our troops.
Thank you so much for that inspiring, refreshing message, President-elect Biden. Your commitment to true partnership with local leaders is so important. And we at National League of Cities, we're excited about your appointment for Julie Rodriguez, the Intergovernmental Affairs Director. We'll be working hand in hand with her. Thank you again, sir. And as you know why President-elect Biden taking the time to join us today is extra special, because it's his birthday. So happy birthday, President-elect Biden. So, all right, my friends, we have come to the conclusion of our final general session, but we're not finished. Be sure now to join us at our annual business meeting, where we will elect our new officers and adopt our municipal policy guide for the coming year. If you are registered as your city or state municipal league's voting delegate, please make sure to join us in the annual business meeting for voting delegates listed under My Agenda. But if you're not a voting delegate, we invite you to attend a live stream of the meeting that's open to the public, which can be found on the Full Agenda tab. It has been truly an honor to have you all join us virtually. Can't wait to see you all again in March. May God bless and protect you. Thank you so much for joining us, and looking forward to seeing you at the annual business meeting. Thanks again.